Hey everyone. So in this video, I want to review the in-class exercise that we did, which covered the aggregate demand model and the income spending multiplier. So in this exercise, we're given two equations that describe the behavior of both households and firms. So that's given by the consumption function, and the consumption function tells us what the expenditures of households are on goods and services, and that consists of the autonomous consumption and the marginal propensity to consume times aggregate income Y. And then we also have an equation, if you will, that describes the investment decisions of firms. And this is the intended investment, which is autonomous and just fixed at 35 in this example. Okay? So the first part to this exercise asks you to fill in this table and give the values of consumption and aggregate demand at each level of income. So if we start with the first case where income is 0 and we want to calculate consumption, all we do is we plug 0 in for y in this consumption function. So of course, this component is 0, and consumption is just equal to autonomous consumption. So 90 would be the value of consumption if income were 0, right? We also know that intended investment, at least in this model, is going to be fixed for any level of income at 35. So we can just go ahead and put 35 down in this column, because it's always going to be the same. Right? So moving on to the next level of income, where income is 400. We want to take income, plug it into the consumption function. So consumption is going to be equal to 0.75 times 400 plus 90. Right? 0.75 times 400 is 300 plus 90 is 390. So consumption is 390. Right? If income were 500, we go ahead and plug 500 in for income. 0.75 times 500 is going to be 375 plus 90 will give us 465. Okay? And then lastly, if we have income of 600, then we go ahead and plug 600 in for income. 0.75 times 600 will give us 450 plus 90 will give us 540. Okay, so there we have the level of consumption at each level of income. So to get aggregate demand, AD, we just add intended investment plus consumption. Right? Aggregate demand equals consumption plus intended investment, which is autonomous in this model. Okay, so we just go ahead and add these up at each level of income. So we have 90 plus 35 is 125. 390 plus 35 is 425. 465 plus 35 is 500. And 540 plus 35 is 575. Okay, so that's the first step. That table's completed. We have the level of aggregate demand, consumption, of course, intended investment, every level of income. Okay, so the next piece of the question asks, if for some reason income equaled 600, will there be any unintended inventory investment, right? So if you remember, unintended inventory investment is just the difference between income, aggregate income Y, and aggregate demand. So we can clearly see that by subtracting the aggregate demand from income. So income in this case is 600. And aggregate demand at this level of income is 575. So we have 25 as the level of unintended inventory investment. And then the question asks, would inventories be excessive or depleted by how much? Well, by how much is 25, and this is a positive value, so it's excessive inventory investment. And in this case, aggregate demand was not sufficient to cover the level of production Y. Moving on to the third part to the exercise, if for some reason income were 500, what would be the unintended inventory investment? Again, same thing as the second part of the question. Here we have, again, income minus aggregate demand. At income equals 500, right, aggregate demand also equals 500, right? So 500 minus 500 is 0. So there's no unintended inventory investment, right? So that's all we need to say about that, which is just directly related to the fourth part to the exercise. What is the equilibrium level of income and output? So this, we find equilibrium where income equals aggregate demand, where 500 equals 500. So that's the answer to the fourth part. So moving on to the income spending multiplier. So part 5 asks, what is the income spending multiplier equal to in this model? So as we've discussed, the multiplier is just equal to 1 over 1 minus the marginal 1 over 1 minus the marginal propensity to consume, or 1 over the marginal propensity to save, which in this case is going to be 1 over 1 minus 0.75, right? This is the marginal propensity to consume, MPC, which is also 1 over 0.25, which equals 4. Okay, so the spending multiplier is 4. So that's going to tell us how much income is going to change if we change some component of aggregate demand. So that's what question 6 is asking. If intended investment were to rise by 25, so we have a positive change in intended investment of 25, how much would equilibrium income increase? So all we have to do is multiply this multiplier of 4 by this change in intended investment. Okay, so the goal is to find what's the change in equilibrium output. So in this case, the change in Y is going to be equal to the multiplier 4 times this change in intended investment, which is 25, which of course equals 100. So what this is saying is that equilibrium income rises by 100 when there's only a change in intended investment of 25. So you in a sense get an added bonus of a change in equilibrium income through the multiplier process, right? Okay, so that is the in-class exercise that we did. We'll discuss this more in class. Hope to see you also in future videos.